in the leagues, and this is a deck I'm pretty excited about too. We're kind of returning to this red-green God-Pharaoh's gift shell. You might remember this deck. We trophied with it during the 24-hour stream when Dingo was here, and he was shit-talking the deck the whole time, and we were just crushing. But I realized that Bahamut is just almost a strict upgrade to Cityscape Leveler, which is what we were playing in this spot anyways. If you Shifting Woodland Bahamut, you have to do this on your upkeep, so that is one downside. But if you Shifting Woodland it, you get to destroy a non-land permanent just like Cityscape Leveler, but it's a 9/9 flyer instead of an 8/8 trampler. You get to set up for the draw 2. If you eventually, I don't think Chapter 4 is going to happen that often, but when it does happen, it'll usually happen when you God-Pharaoh's Gift, which will one-shot your opponents a lot of the time. I think it's not going to come up that often. But I think it's just a slightly better Cityscape Leveler in this shell. I guess one other thing was, I guess one more reason why it's better than Cityscape Leveler is that if you upkeep or draw step through the breach on this, then you can put this into play. It'll go to Chapter 1, and then when you go to your main phase, it goes to Chapter 2. So you get 2 destroys out of it if you through the breach it, which is, I think, kind of nice. Doesn't do. I guess it is worse with Fear of Missing Out, but I want to try it in the shell here. I think it's a good place to get going. What about Aghanim Awakening in the mono black deck? What would you cut for it? I'm gonna keep this hand. Is Ripples of Death too slow for Dimir Shadow? It's too slow for Modern. It's just not a playable Modern card. You need to have a lot of graveyard synergies, I think, to even really think about it. But we have played it, and I think it sucks. Yeah, I did like Yigra. Like, Yigra was kind of a weird experience where we, did really well our first few leagues with it, and then we started to do really poorly, so definitely mixed bag. Is Bahamut the second best thing that God-Pharaoh's Gift, or are we doing for the memes? I think it's the second best. Listen, don't come in here asking, are we doing this for the memes? You know the answer to that question is never yes. We don't ever do things for the memes. Yes, I do think Bahamut is the second best thing that God-Pharaoh's Gift in this shell. At least that's a theory we are testing out. Okay, interesting. Traverse the Ulvenwald mirror here. So they probably take my Rumble. I wonder if they have a... I wonder if they're like the... yeah, they do take the Rumble. I wonder if they're playing just like normal, or not normal, but like our Delirium build. Alright, so we probably are going to play the Fear of Missing Out. I think we hold this in our hand for Through the Breach, although there's nothing in exile at the moment. And we might want to Surveil with this. Okay, I think I'll discard. What's the reason for it as opposed to Atraxa, Valgavoth, Curse, Red Arcana, Cruelty, Genuine Curse? Imprints to Ugin's Labyrinth is really the meat and the potatoes there, which is really kind of mandatory so that your Ulamogs are going to kill your opponents more often. Ulamogs also kill your opponents when you like God-Pharaoh's Gift them, but you need a secondary. You need something to be imprinted under Labyrinth too, otherwise it just doesn't work. All right, so I guess we are not surveilling this turn. Let's go ahead and dig for God-Pharaoh's Gift. Guess we're going to have a few more looks next turn, potentially. Think we heat now before this gets too big? Yeah, I should have mentioned that, but yeah, it's mandatory whatever your non-Ulamog target is in Prince to Ugin's Labyrinth. Like, getting to play that is obviously a huge deal in general, but the powerful stuff is really the Ulamog stuff. Now, I could upkeep, copy the Bahamut, and kill the Channeler, maybe a different threat, like that. Now, because I'm doing this in my upkeep, I'm not going to be able to attack with it this turn, which kind of stinks. I guess I should have done Draw Step, because if I had drawn God-Pharaoh's Gift, then I get really punished, but we did not draw God-Pharaoh's Gift here. Don't think I have a basic mountain. Yeah, I guess we'll just end up surveilling. I don't want to shock here. Yeah, you're right. It should be draw step. We've done this before. I don't know why I messed that up. All right, so hopefully they just played something like another Tarmogoyf. Instead, they have channeled Blood Rushed? A Goreclad Rampager for lethal. That's pretty fun. All right, down a game on the draw against Delirium aggro. Maybe running it back here. I got the 4th Heat from the sideboard. They are a Thoughtseize deck, so we could bring in some Veil of Summers, but there's a good chance they don't even have 4. We could bring in the Trinispheres, maybe. Kind of down to bring in a couple Trinispheres. On the play, probably not on the draw. How is Goreclad Rampage the best option? Well, they're traversing for it. Is the thought is that if they want to tutor up a pump spell, they can traverse for it. Not usually a big fan of it, especially because it telegraphs your play so much, and it's just not that powerful. But that is kind of the classic plan. I would really recommend playing the card Violent Urge instead, which is just +1/+1 double strike for 1 mana. But we did lose to it. We would have also lost to Violent Urge. Why not just Flytrap as the tutor target? I'm sure they also have Flytrap in their deck. It's if they have one Goreclad Rampager as a traverse target. Yeah, it is like really, really, it's older tech to be sure, but it checks out. I wonder if they're playing Cecil. I really want to play Cecil in the Jund Delirium deck. Like, you're just a Street Wraith deck. Alright, let's keep this. Let's go and just lead on Utopia Sprawl. And then we'll see how things develop here. People really out here hoping Jund Shadow's viable. Well, this is Jund Delirium, I think, more than it's Jund Shadow. Although I might be wrong about that. But I think Jund Delirium is like a kind of underrated deck. Okay, so we need a Woodland. I guess I put the Ulamog in my hand, so God-Pharaoh's Gift is more... Well, I guess that's not the case. Although, I'm missing a card type. I won't be missing a card type if I discard the God-Pharaoh's Gift. Okay, we'll put this in our hand. And if I go looting, untap, or if I go surveil, untap, looting, I can use the Ugin's Labyrinth to still... No, I won't have enough green mana because this is on red. No, I just use the Sprawl for red instead. Okay, we can surveil instead of casting the looting this turn. Just gives us an extra look to find the Shifting Woodland. I guess this could be worse if I end up needing to traverse. If I find traverse. What if they're playing TFO with Rampager? That could be the case. That's kind of interesting. Although, I guess one problem with that, right, is you can only... Okay, pretty good against Thoughtseize here. One problem with that is you can only Blood Rush an attacking creature, and Tifa usually want to pump on your turn so you can get full use out of a fetch land. Or on your main phase, not your turn. So I have 4 mana, gonna go up to 6. So it'll be 1 short of hardcasting the God-Pharaoh's Gift next turn. Something I wasn't even really thinking about too much, but that could very easily end up being how this game goes if they take the looting. Certainly your hand very good against the Thoughtseize. Interesting that they didn't cast the Thoughtseize turn 1. I guess they drew it off the bobble or their draw step. They do take the looting. And we find the Woodlands, but we no longer have the looting to kill this turn. If I use the Ugin's Labyrinth... Yeah, I'm not playing the Woodland. Okay, so let's go ahead and discard the gifts. I think I discard Gift Commercial District. I don't want them to know I have the Woodlands, right? I want to conceal that. Keeping this in hand for Through the Breach. But next turn, they get like Annihilator 4 need and take about that much damage. And that's through any amount of discard, but and removal or creature removal, but not through disenchants or graveyard hate. Oh, that too. Interesting that they can play Blood Moon. So we're going to try to get up to 9 mana to cast this, I suppose. We also have the Heat in our hand. Maybe a spot where boarding out the Spyro feels bad, because that might be our Traverse target in these kind of spots. Yeah, Woodlands copies God-Pharaoh Gift. Oh, they have the basic Swamp in their hand. Oh, I guess I'll move the camera here. Okay, they have a Tarmogoyf 5/6. Pretty good for them. Already flashed back our looting. So this is 6 mana. Best draw might be Rumble into a land. I usually bring in the Haywire Mite to Traverse for if I think there's Blood Moons. We also have a Boseiju we can Traverse for. But I was not expecting this list to have Blood Moon. Through the Breach also, I guess I was thinking for some reason didn't consider that when thinking about best top decks here. Third basic, but it's a basic mountain. I think they're casting Gore Clan Rampager. No, they cast Hidetsugu Consumes All, which kills my Utopia Sprawl, and is going to exile my graveyard next turn. This is pretty annoying since... Okay, it is going to be bad for their Tarmogoyf, but what's annoying about this is that I've just top decked this Traverse, and I could Traverse for a Boseiju, but they're going to exile my graveyard next turn. If only I could grab Through the Breach off of this. Seems like I still grab the Boseiju. Seems like a very poor card to play in your Tarmogoyf, Nethergoyf, DRC deck, if I'm going to be quite honest. I don't really understand playing it. I guess we can't be too upset. I missed a window Through the Breach. We do have Through the Breach in the deck. There's an epidemic happening on this stream lately of Spike, why isn't this card in your deck? And it is in the deck. What changes separate deck? Seems exactly the same. We're like most of the sideboard, but in the main deck we added the Crypto Vagabond. But we're like 6 or 7 cards different. It's actually not very bad for us because this is going to get us a lot closer to Delirium. Now, I don't have another Surveil land. Nice. Yeah, I'm interested in playing the Tifa Domain deck again, but if you watch the VOD too, it's like we played against 4-color Omnath and Grixis removal spells. It's like the kind of matchups that are just quite just miserable for a pump spell deck. So I'm definitely interested in playing it again if the format cools down on decks that are like 50% removal or whatever. I want to play those Spyro since they're on Blood Moon. Which I'm one of these, I guess. Like, Tifa continues to be a really powerful card in a format that is very inhospitable to Tifa. Okay, so this is a turn 3 Through the Breach. Let me get at my basic forest here. Or one of them. So they don't have Thoughtseize in their hand. They would have played that already. They may have Bowmaster, which is pretty annoying because I'm casting Rumble this turn. All right, so that could set me up to. It's a little bit weird because now I both want to discard the God-Pharaoh's Gift to copy the Ulamog, and I also want to pitch the God-Pharaoh's Gift for Through the Breach. And I kind of have to pick a lane. This is better against Blood Moon. This is better against Graveyard Hate. Okay, well, I guess the good news is I can now just pitch this. The bad news is if my opponent has the card Thoughtseize in their hand, we're going to lose spectacularly. Thoughts on Ancient Stirrings now that all the relevant stuff is colorless? Well, not all the relevant stuff is colorless. Like, you can't Stirrings into a discard enabler, which is like just a big problem because that's really important. So, like, and you're also like we were thinking about your card filtering spells. I think Stirrings is worse than FOMO, Looting, Rumble, and Traverse. And so like I don't know how you would include a card like Ancient Stirrings if that's the case. Would a Dreadhorde Arcanist Planisphere deck work in Modern? Flame of the North seems sweet. So the main reason I've found to include Planisphere in your deck is so that you can stay mono blue in the Affinity Shell. Putting counters on Dreadhorde Arcanist does sound kind of interesting. Putting counters on Dreadhorde Arcanist does seem kind of interesting, but the thing is Dreadhorde Arcanist by itself is fragile and slow. It's like I have liked Dreadhorde Arcanist when you're playing Arena of Glory, and you're kind of like if you're already a deck that wants to play Arena of Glory, if you're already a deck that wants to play a lot of cheap 1-mana spells, then Dreadhorde Arcanist can be good. So, and I don't think Dreadhorde Arcanist is the kind of card that can be that interesting when your plan is I'm going to have my Arcanist. I'm going to cast a Flame of Anor. I'm going to put a Planisphere on Arcanist. I'm going to cast 2 more spells after I equip. Then, my big payoff, baby, I'm going to attack, and I'm going to cast Flame of Anor again! It's just like any other like wizard plan is going to win these games also. You know, it's just too much mana, too many turns, too slow. You feel Mono Blue Urza is still a solid challenge deck? Yeah, I think if I was going to... I'm going to play the Showcase Challenge tomorrow. I'm probably going to stream it unless something happens. And I think that's the deck I'm going to play tomorrow. But I'm not 100% locked in. Leyline Binding, my Utopia Sprawl. Cool. So they have 3 cards left on their Mold of 5 here. Let's go ahead and looting for a... I guess I only have Forest, right? Yeah. Thankfully, I've got that second Forest, huh? Hot take, I think Matoya has been bad. Having to untap with 3 mana do nothing half the time isn't modern playable. That's it. I appreciate the feedback. You draw a card the turn you play a Matoya a huge chunk of the time. So I want to push back on the having to untap with it aspect of that analysis. Where I feel like we're usually able to set up for turns where we go... like we have a DRC in play, we can go Matoya 0 drop, Surveil, draw a card. If your opponent's holding up removal, you can just go Matoya fetch land and draw a card, Surveil 1 if they have the removal spell. And so like my experience is Matoya is the kind of 3-drop where if you can play against removal in a way that it's a 2-for-1 if they have removal, it doesn't die to Flage, it doesn't die to Bolt. And if they do have the removal, you can set up really often where it's a 2-for-1. And if they don't kill it, it wins the game when it untaps. So that's my analysis. I'd love to hear if you have more feedback on it. But I want to push back on it's the kind of 3-drop that just like it's 1-for-1 for no value, because that's again not been how it's been playing for me, I think. But maybe I'm biased, or maybe I am blind. Does happen sometimes. Why no mounts in this deck for exactly the situation? Well, we've got Utopia Sprawls in the deck, so kind of hard to play Mountain. Mingu Trophy last night. I'd love to see his list. Pretty cool. Mingu tried Blue Ribbon Toy this morning, and it wasn't very impressive, though he played less cantrip. Well, I'm getting a little disconnect because I'm hearing he trophied with it, and I'm hearing it wasn't very impressive, but I don't know. Okay, so this is really similar to the VV builds, but basically Matoya over VV, which is maybe just good. Not playing Flame of Ignores, and you can't, or it's harder to. I'm glad to see Mingu trying that out. This is like the best Fable I've seen in a long time. I think I'm gonna flashback to Looting. Nice. He did trophy, just sideboard out the Matoyas. Okay. It's interesting. I will say, like, in this shell, I do think VV shines a lot more, and I'm still a big believer of like the VV Temporal Trespass stuff. There's a Murktide Matoya list in the 5-0s. Yeah, this looks very, very similar to our first draft. We were playing one more Ragavan, one less Murktide, and I was playing 4 Preordained, 0 Consider. I think moving those numbers is fine. Yeah, very, very similar to our first draft. Any Brood with Overhood, I kind of like it, cannot find a home. I think that card just costs too much mana. Just in the meta, even Matoya being 1/4 when it enters, draw a card doesn't seem great. As you said, any 3-mana creature you could untap with should always win you the game. I could be wrong, could be biased. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good back and forth. Well, but it's also like, it's not... I don't know. So, like, you could just say that 3-mana creatures are bad, and like that you might be right that 3-mana creatures are bad at the moment. But I think 3-mana 1/4 draw a card most of the time, like draw a card and trade for a removal spell. That is a good exchange for you. And when that doesn't happen, when your Matoya lives, the game just ends usually. Like if that isn't a formula for a good 3-drop, then 3-drops just aren't good. Is probably the attitude we need to have. Which might be the case. It might be the case that you just need stuff like Flage and Spyro. Or like VV, which gives you the mana back, Alright, so if they have another copy of Leyline Binding, we're not super happy. I would never say 3-mana creatures are bad. Trespasser is my favorite creature to City Point. Yeah, Trespasser is an interesting thing to point to, too. Give me. Serious question. You think guys are saying Traff could be modern playable? So we've been talking about it on stream a lot this week, funny enough. They have a consign. So Geist is really synergistic with a lot of good cards in the format. It's synergistic with Consign, where you could maybe main deck Consign and consign the token leaving. It's very synergistic with okay, they do have a main deck. Speaking of Consign, it is synergistic with Guide of Souls, where you get the extra you get to do kind of the Voice of Victory thing, where you get that extra token before the Guide of Souls trigger resolves. That maybe lets you jump the Geist of Saint Traft. If you do consign your Angel token trigger, Ocelot Pride copies the Angel tokens. So that's kind of on my to-do list for this weekend to work on. Although tomorrow is the Showcase Challenge, so usually when I stream on Saturdays, I also kind of just stream my off-stream prep for that day. That makes sense. I just I do the stuff I would usually do off-stream on stream since I'm streaming. All right, let's go for it again here. See if they top deck the binding. Let's go. Although I could have discarded FOMO and then Attack with this twice. I was a little bit scared of them having something. I'm going to be happy enough to discard a FOMO because we have the God-Pharaoh's Gift to bring one back next turn. An update to the mono blue Urza sideboard. Would you consider cutting 1/2 Kappa Cannoneer and maybe the Tormod's Crypt for 2/3 snare, since the snares are probably good against the deck, so you bring in Kappa Crypt for Boros, Ketchumos, Gorios. Yeah, maybe. I haven't been loving the Kappa Cannoneers. I don't know that I agree that I would bring in snare against Ketchumos, which is like a little nitpicky, because I really hate holding it up against them and then they play an Overlord and I can't snare it. Like, that's something that makes me groan a little bit. But I do think, like, you know, we did, like, that might be a better plan for, like, Boros and Gorios and stuff. Am I gonna Unholy Heat this Goblin Shaman? I think so. We have this trigger coming down for extra removal here. Just want them to maybe not be able to double spell, right? Do you want to kill this Leyline or this Leyline? Let's kill this Leyline. I think we mostly are just scared of Scion once we don't have another destroy an online permanent coming. Okay, they have another main deck consign. Fun. I guess we grab this so we can hardcast one next turn, or potentially surveil a Ulamog of the yard. Although I think we also might have lethal, so let's. I think the FOMOs probably give me lethal here. Oh man. Well, I guess we can. No, yeah, let's not. So what we could do is we could go God-Pharaoh's Gift, get back FOMO, attack for 4, untap the FOMO, get another FOMO, attack, untap. Yeah, that would have been billions of damage. But that's also a line that's kind of invisible to some people. This line is a lot more visible. So I think if we don't have to show them the FOMO loop-de-doop, let's just not, so that they might not know how to play into it or play around it in games 2 and 3. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of this archetype. So Binding is pretty good against us. Force of Vigor is pretty good against them in general. We're not super weak to Stub. Stub is good against Through the Breach and not that much else. So I don't think I'm bringing in the Veils. Do I want to bring in the play set of Force of Vigors? I don't know if I want the full 4. I think we'll try to do 3. Maybe I could cut the Through the Breaches. I kind of like that, since I don't think they're great in this matchup. Well, the thing is, the Through the Breaches are really... They are important tools to get around Graveyard Hate. Oh, I want the Haywire Mite also as a traverse target. Let's try this, see how it goes for game 2. Is an Archon usually better? So the thing is, so Ulamog is the best thing. Whatever your second big thing is, and I think it needs to be Ugin's Labyrinth. Or so it needs to be imprintable to Ugin's Labyrinth. It's like it's much easier to get this like plus Through the Breach enabled when your other imprintable is Labyrinthable. Getting to play Ugin's Labyrinth is very powerful. It also speeds up your Shifting Woodland turns. It speeds up your Through the Breach plan. So that's why we're not playing Archon, is that this is a big colorless card for Ugin's Labyrinth. Also, like, sometimes you do just get to hardcast these things, but that doesn't happen all the time. I think we'll do 3 Force, 1 Haywire. IRL, thank you for the 2 months. Welcome back. A few months ago, you said you were working on Esper Catcher Control. Any plans to revisit? Maybe. Like, I'm still like pretty deep in the Final Fantasy testing, so it would just have to wait until we feel like we've thoroughly explored our stuff here, and there's still a lot to work on between the new builds of Aerith. I also want to try this guy. This guy says Saint Traff deck might might interrupt the Final Fantasy stuff, but we're getting. I guess we're getting kind of close to getting back to regularly scheduled modern stuff. Yeah, it's also an enchantment creature for Delirium. The snare thought gets Ketros for Felly, Emperor, Bowmaster, maybe Frog. Yeah. It's just for me. It's Overlord is so annoying when I hold up snare, but I'm maybe overthinking it. Yeah, I think there's a good chance. Like tomorrow, there's a pretty good chance that between rounds of the Showcase Challenge, we'll play the Geist deck. What's the sudden talk about Geist? Well, it just seems like weirdly synergistic with a lot of. It seems weirdly synergistic with a lot of cards in Energy. And consign. You want to main phase because of Stubborn Denial. So it's like you can consign your Geist trigger. It has the Voice of Victory thing where you can stack it to where you get the energy before the Guide of Souls trigger resolves. You can jump your Geist of St. Traft. Arena of Glory, Geist of St. Traft. I guess you would have to have 4 mana, but that doesn't sound like the worst thing ever. If you do consign your Angel token, you could Mockingbird your Angel token too, which I don't know. I don't know how bad that sounds. I don't know how bad any of this sounds or how good any of this sounds, but boy does it sound. Okay, I'm gonna make red. I think. I don't think we should ever worry about Blood Moon against them. We'll discard the Sprawl. So the good news is, if this dies, we can go Traverse for Seasoned Pyromancer. I think I'm going to play Mono Blue Urza in the Showcase, but I might pivot to something else. What's the Aerith update? So I'm a little stuck on if I want to keep being a Gear Hulk deck. I have liked Gear Hulk a lot. Or if I want to play Spike Feeder Heliod, Collected Company. And like Collected Company is really interesting because, or Spike Feeder is really interesting because if you Cauldron Spike Feeder onto Aerith, then it's infinite power, infinite life. Kind of infinite life twice. Okay, they exiled the FOMO, which is pretty bad. And then they flip a Utopia Sprawl, which they could cast. They probably should cast. So there's also Kyla's Reconstruction, which allows you to potentially hit Agatha's Soul Cauldron off of your company effect, but that card is also so much mana. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. If I wanted to stay a Gear Hulk deck, I would be interested in potentially still playing some of the cards we mentioned just now. Okay, so if I graveyard this, I can Traverse. The problem is I can't. I mean, I need to graveyard so they don't Ragavan it. The problem is I can't cast like the Spyro this turn. I think I just have to get the FOMO. And there's 2 cards in exile for a possible Through the Breach. I think we're not that far away from hardcasting the gifts. Now we're actually just like an Ugin's Labyrinth away, so I think it makes sense to discard there. Does United Battlefront get artifacts? Yeah, but it doesn't get creatures, and that's still most of the deck. You could do Kyla's in a Fnatic build. Maybe. I do think you still need to play Guide and Pride. Those cards are both really, really strong in the build. Well, Shifting Woodland. So it's a bit. We did find our Ugin's Labyrinth. The problem is we now need a land because you go down on cards. So maybe I discard 1/2. I play the Haywire Mite. And then we don't need to get rid of this binding like now. Although if they attack with the Scion, then I'm like attacking them for 8 and they're at 16, so that is pretty interesting. Some bot prefer to lever because it can destroy something when copied. Yeah, it gets around like removal on that. Also the extra modes on it are kind of interesting, although it's maybe not as interesting because you don't get that late. It's also a 9/9 flyer compared to 8/8 trample, which is kind of marginal. It's possible you want like a 3/1 split too. All right, so if I draw a land, yeah, let's see what we draw. I think. All right, if we find Traverse or Woodland, it's good to cast this Looting. Okay, we found both of those. All right, so let's see if they have the Consign, I suppose. How are you exiling things through Ulamog besides Labyrinth? Let me show you. Maybe. If they don't have consign, I'll show you. We also get to play around binding with the Haywire Mite here. Let me show you next turn. The answer is God-Pharaoh's Gifts. Spoiler, I guess. What do you think about the Kuja card? I don't know Kuja. You can exclamation point card it in the chat. I still don't have all the Final Fantasy cards named, especially the ones I just haven't been playing with. Oh, right! Right! I totally forgot about this. Let me show you! Let me show you. We get the extra combat step with the FOMO. Duh. Let me show you. Dang it. Nice consign. Okay, so we're off to a 2-0 start in this league. There's 7 minutes until the challenge starts, so I think we're going to go ahead and wait for that to pop off. We're 2-0 in our league here. I was feeling really good about the flare. Trying to figure out my sideboard on the fence between Flute and Bauble. Well, what's nice about the 1 mana cards versus the 2 mana cards is you can draw your sideboard card and not be dead when you're on the draw. I think that part is very critical. So, okay, Mire, Blood Crypt, Ragavan. I think I just want to go Heat and then Surveil end of turn. Yeah, they win without Griselbrand a lot. Naming Griselbrand's not that good. Yeah, I win if they don't have the second creature. I win also a lot of the time if they didn't draw the Pact of Negation off of the first Griselbrand pile. The Raven Charm, okay. So that's 3 types in the yard for Delirium. I think we'll graveyard that. Yeah, I guess we do this the slow way. Well, maybe I keep the other looting. No, I want to flashback next turn. Yeah, so I'm going to get Ulamog. We may end up wanting to keep it in the hand for Through the Breach, depending on how the looting flashback goes. KRG with the 62 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Well, despite them being... Wait. Did I not play my land last turn? Sorry, I guess I forgot to play the Boseiju. I think I dumped these. I don't have anything in exile for the Ulamog, so I don't think we can be on the Through the Breach plan here. And playing the FOMO could be a solid blocker next turn. That I also just may be able to set up for like Traverse for Bahamut, FOMO, discard Bahamut. Then next turn I get to attack for 18 in the air and destroy 2 non-land permanents, which might be enough, but with the Guide of Souls life gain, it might not be enough. Okay, it'd be interesting if they decide to flip the Flage or just dome me. Or flip the Ajani. They do flip the Ajani. Interesting they didn't main phase 1 this. They didn't jump anything with the Guide of Souls. They can escape the Flage next turn with this Surveil. We lost round 1 of the challenge brutally to Neoform. We died on turn 2 game 1, and then game 2 they had the turn 2 kill with Pax, but I had Flare, so I thought I was going to win, and then they had another Griselbrand in their hand and Pact of Negation, and it was gross. Alright, I think we're sticking to that plan. Culling Ritual is the real deal. It single-handedly won every game resolved against Boros. It goes crazy with Chthonian Nightmare. I keep hearing these rumors about I keep hearing these rumors about I mean, not Culling Ritual, not rumors. Yes, Culling Ritual, not rumors. I've seen it in action. It can be very good. It's very weird that all of the Culling Ritual decks seem to play a million things that die to Culling Ritual, but maybe that's the point. I do agree that that card is good against Boros energy. All right, dead to the Arena Flage. Next turn, I was gonna be able to draw step Woodlands the Bahamut and kill two things, but that's not good enough if you're dead to Flage. That was a very good Boros draw too. Let's bring in the Fire Magics. I do kind of waffle back and forth on the Trinispheres. I think I also want the Haywire Mite as a traverse target. I think you want to cut the Spyro, cut a Bahamut. Trim a maybe. I think trimming a traverse is fine. Trim a looting. I think I want to keep in there through the breaches to kind of dodge like Blood Moon and Graveyard Hate. Yeah, let's try no Trinispheres because I think it's just over sideboarding. Ritual is your Wrath, guys. No way. Yeah, I mean I get it. It's just so weird to me to play like Agatha Soul Cauldron, Delighted Halfling, Orcish Bowmasters, and then this card that just kills all of those things. Like it's always been like such a tough. It's been a tough sell for me to play that kind of strategy. One Trinisphere is kind of free. Well, you can't. Well, what do you mean by kind of free? I mean, maybe just expand on that, please. What would you cut for it? Is one Goblin Engineer as a traverse target to Benegift too bad of a card to have in your deck? I don't know. I think that sounds interesting. I like the thought for sure. Would have been really good that game. You won't end up with two in hand where second is dead. Okay, that's what you mean by free. We've got that part down. Now, what do you mean? What would you cut for it? Yeah, the Yigra Gamer was going off of an old build of ours. They're in chat earlier today. They were in chat yesterday telling us about the list. Definitely looks pretty good. I think I don't want a Woodland. I think I'm also saving the Fire Magic here. I had two separate situations where it had to be 8-10 mana and I had Trespassers still in play. I used all the mana. One seems supposed to Yigra. Oh, you're playing the Yigra deck. Okay, in Yigra, I'm super on board. Elk to 26. Let's go. Thank you. Welcome back. In the Yigra deck, it makes so much sense. Let me pull up your Yigra build again, Articuno. Again, congrats on the modern top 4. Did you try Sephiroth at all? Might just be better to play Trespasser. That's so sad. Yeah, I did the second Woodlands, right? I feel like I might like the third over like the third Trawler. I don't know if I love the Emperor of Bones either. Maybe they're good. I've heard rumblings. I've heard rumors of this Sonic secret lair. Okay. Thank you, opponent. Glad this is an instant. I haven't tried it. I barely play tested the version I played. Fair enough. Yeah, maybe we might play some Sephiroth Yigra. This may come as a surprise to y'all. I'm not a big Sonic fan. I don't know a lot about the IP. I'll spread out the sprawls next time. Jeez. I think I have to graveyard this. This is weird because I need this for my future, but I also need to draw like a card filtering spell. Or maybe I should have saved the Fire Magic. Okay, well I did draw a Rumble, which is good. Interesting. Yeah, so I'll take the Labyrinth, and now if I draw Traverse, Ulamog, Bahamut, or Shifting Woodland, although I only have 2 Woodlands left in the deck, we can win next turn. So that was good. So one nice thing about one nice thing too is, oh my gosh, they just exiled it. Let's go, dude. They just main phased it. Now we don't need to draw an imprintable. All right, this is for my Utopia Sprawl land, okay, Bucko. They're also at 14, or I thought this would be 14 power. It's 16 power. No, this is 9, duh, not 7. Let's fucking go, dude. They just main phased it. Probably won't do that in game 3. Should Google. I have Googled my name plus the hedgehog, but my name is so obscure there are no results. I think I'm going to trim a FOMO for a Spyro. I probably should have that last way. All right, playing for 3-0 in the league. Let's keep this. Put on some Molda 6 on the play. Good pickup. So I could graveyard this and play around another Molten Rain. I think that's okay. Let's try that. So, we definitely want some combination of lands and imprintables, or God-Pharaoh's Gift, which is also an imprintable. But there's a good chance we're going to try to traverse for a Ugin's Labyrinth to set up for Through the Breach. Hey Jarvis, playing challenge with the mono black Sephiroth deck. Got Neo formed. Really bad game round 1. We're 2-0 in this league in game 3. Do you believe in the VV Trespass deck still? I do believe in it. I think it's something that still needs like tuning, but like once I added Temporal Trespass to like the archetype, I think I'm just never gonna stop trying to play that card. Okay, so we found imprintable and we found the Labyrinth, but we can't take both. But I think I just take the Labyrinth. It's like a little... It's more likely I draw another imprintable than the Labyrinth, and this is better in the graveyard. I think I might give it a go for fun and figure out what can be fixed nice. Yeah, I would play the Imri version over the Batoya version. Yeah, I don't know. I think the deck is just pretty good. I don't know like how many big problems it has other than it's just a bit slower than some of the other linear decks. But it does just like kind of ignore the like Boros' plan a lot of the time with the temporal trespasses. Oh, it's really bad against Orzhov too. I found the deck is awful against Orzhov. Okay, interesting draw. All right, so let me traverse for... Okay, if we get our commercial district Molten Rain, that could be so bad. But I'm going to grab an Ulamog, I think. And then I'm going to play the Shifting Woodland. Flame Knight with the 21 months. Thank you so much. Closing in on 2 years in the Shark Typhoon. They discard 2 lands here. So we're hoping to dodge a Thoughtseize. I think I'm not... Well... No, we should Fire Magic now. If they flip, if they fatal push the cat token, that's just a win for us. And if they do it, and then we can cast through the breach next turn, and that will win the game if it resolves. So this is also the better plan if they cast Thoughtseize, to have done this and take 3 less damage, I think. We might get Orms chanted. They need to kick it. Well, they could stop me from doing this by just casting it. Like they just cast it like on turn 3 last round or last game. All right, so we're 3-0 in our league. Let's get a trophy prediction going. Do not play Twin if your goal is to win an RCQ. Especially not right now. Like so at least the Magic Online metagame is so bad for Twin. It's just like infinite grindy decks. Not sure if I'm going to discard an Ulamog or imprint it. We'll see what we draw. We'll see what they do. Might discard the second Sprawl. Opponent's taking their time to show up here. Yeah, we do need... I would love for there to be a twin here. I'm going to go use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back.
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring.
Ferk with the bit. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're 0-1 in the challenge. We got Neo formed really hard. Was not much of a match. Cecil! Goes 2-3 Death Touch lands well up against 2-3 no Death Touch. You know what? I think we discard the Sprawl. Okay, maybe kind of punished. We could just take our time a little bit here. Like Through the Breach is now like a game-winning top deck, although we only have a couple of those in the deck. Interesting. Thinking Bahamut may be good in creativity gives you another persist target. That isn't embarrassing. Well, so here's the thing about creativity is I don't think the problem with that archetype is that your persist targets aren't good enough or that your creativity targets aren't good enough. It's that your deck is like really slow and clunky and easy to disrupt and plays all at sorcery speed. That's my take there. Oh, well, I guess, actually, I think I want that still in exile. Ooh, I can exile something else. This is good if we draw Through the Breach, but I think I'm not going to do that. I do think I just want to leave that in exile. Okay, interesting. So there's a gift. Problem is they have this Emperor of Bones. But I guess if I can dump both of these in the yard, and then I should be able to grab one of them next turn, right? Hopefully. Yeah, I can hopefully kill them next turn. Let me anything I would want to Boseiju? I don't think so. Not really. Do I want to traverse for a fear of missing out this turn? Or a Seasoned Pyromancer maybe? If I draw a land, I get rewarded for a FOMO. Let's do that. Gonna get a draw step stop here. 5-color Thought Persistence moment. Yeah. When you play the 5-color build, you get to play a lot of instant speed, and that makes it way harder on your opponents. But so yeah, I agree completely that the issue is, oh, my opponent could have Emperor of Bones my Bahamut, and then they did. All right, they get to flip Cecil. I'm taking 5. I have like super lethal on the backswing, unless they have like Ephemerate. So if I target the Wisp, I think I need to target the Emperor. Because this is what they want to Ephemerate. Oh, wait. They get to Okay, they just fatal push. I mean, they're at 9, so I'm attacking for 9. It's flying. Creatures without flying cannot block creatures with flying. Okay, great. That was a weird game. We're up in this 3-0 match. Neither player played well. Okay. I am liking Fire Magic, I think, more against Orzhov than I originally thought, especially in a deck like this where you get to 3 mana a lot. I don't know how many copies I want. Okay, round 2 is about the start of the challenge too. So let's bring in 1 Veil of Summer, I think 2 copies of Fire Magic, trim 1 copy of Looting, 1 copy of Traverse, and 1 of these. The deck tech option disabled. They're just kind of permanently off. They ended up being too big a distraction to the stream, in my opinion, and I think I'm more interested in the stream being good than making more money. Okay, we're on the draw against an archive here. Why did the land get a lore counter? Because it's a counter that's being put on a permanent. Yeah, I'm gonna traverse for a basic forest here. We have most of the combo, so we just need more mana. Yeah, so what we do is this is a common trick with both Through the Breach in this deck and Shifting Woodlands is you copy Bahamut or Through the Breach it on your draw step. And you do it on your draw step so you can plan out your turn the best possible. And then you go to your main phase, you get the lore counter, you get the trigger. If you draw step Through the Breach, you get 2 triggers, which is pretty nice. Okay, I think I imprint the Ulamog and then cast the Fear of Missing Out, since if it dies, it's really good to God-Pharaoh's Gift. And I'll have the Delirium too. Round 2 of the challenges started. I'm going to go ahead and take my mulligan. We've won the die roll over here. We're up against our friend Tony. I guess I could do no hand hider. Tony, I think Tony's probably streaming too. So here's what we kept in the challenge. Not a bad curve here. 1, 2 into 3 with a potential crazy top deck K command. Can I refund the prediction? Why? I'm not dropping from this league. We're still 3-0. Looks like Tony's still thinking about mulligan decisions here. Tony's probably playing something cool, huh? So we get Thought Seized. They consider VV with the normal 0-mana artifacts and paradoxical outcome. I think that's not a good tree to bark down. I think that deck is just not going to be good if you build it. I don't believe in it. Okay, so they killed the FOMO, or they exiled the FOMO instead of destroying it, which is a problem. And they have a relic, which is another problem. They don't have Delirium for the Heat. I think I'm going to go to game 3 for the sake of the double Q. We also like probably just kind of can't win at this point, or we're not going to win very often. All right, Tony is here. Go, Gravecrawler, go. I played LSV and Paper. Not in a big tournament, but we were on the same testing team the last Pro Tour I played. All right, on the play. I think we got to hold up the Veil. Looks like he is playing Ruby Storm. I just cut my Storm Hate from the sideboard. Did I totally misread the metagame? The metagame all week has been like the grindiest decks you can imagine. And then we run into Neoform, Storm, rounds 1 and 2. Is what it is. Let's take this Apprentice for a turn 3, or sorry, turn 4 combo win on the play, which may be too slow against Ruby Storm. Tony strikes it rich. Interesting. So it seems to me like we've been given a gift where we could play around a Rao, we could maybe exile some relevant cards, and we still have the ability to untap and win the game. Our play is kind of telegraphed, but that's okay. Over here, they returned a Psychic Frog. We brick pretty hard off of our Rumble. I think I will cast the Looting this turn and send it back. Tony starts off with a Manamorphose over here. I'm just going to get this other match on the other monitor. We get Vindicated on our Utopia Sprawl land over here, which is less than ideal. And we get Storm Sail Scion, which is not going to be enough. Thankfully, it's that instead of Goblin Charbelcher. Maybe, hopefully there's no 1-mana haste card in Tony's hand here. Surely Tony is good enough not to play that. So we're going to win game 1. What a gift. Guess I don't know why I sacked that first. Doesn't matter. They're dead. Tony knows he's dead. We're going to game 2 against Storm. Very nice to be up a game. Nice to have a fast combo hand. I had a bunch of Soulless Jailers when we played this deck this week. I certainly decided we didn't need them. We're getting our Ulamog Emperor of Bones over here, and we lose in the league round. All right, gonna mulligan this on the draw. We're 3-1, playing for the 4-1 here. No, we lost to Neoform. We even had they went Summoner's Pact turn 2, and we had the Flare of Malice to stop them from Zinigo scalding me, but they also had stupid Gristlebrand in their hand, and they found Pact for my Bowmaster, and they found Pact for my Bowmaster. Actually, maybe I played the Boseiju and Consign for their double Pact trigger to kill me turn 3. It's crazy. Okay, so I say no to this. Yes, I just say no, and then I save the spawn to win the game with next turn. Okay, so now we can only... Okay, so we can't play Lab and Woodlands next turn. Can they resist the urge to flicker their Recruiter of the Guard? They can't. They can't do it. They can't do it. So they can Solitude by Ulamog, but they have to ward 2. Oh, I guess they just sack the Solitude and the Recruiter, but I get to gain 14 life. So definitely not, out of the frying pan or the fire here. They pitch Path to Exile. They decided to sack a Plains instead of the Recruiter. I guess that's fine. Doesn't mean they're not going to Witch Enchanter my Utopia Sprawl this next turn. Okay, I only have one more basic in my deck. So if they target the Recruiter or the Phantom, I don't get to get another basic. So I get hit for 4 down to 27. They do go after my last non-basic that's in play. Interesting. Start off with a Rumble, I think. So I think I grab a Shifting Woodland, play a Shifting Woodland to force the Felly to target here and not getting another Solitude, or to incentivize it. Maybe that's the better word. Okay, they have another one in their hand. They do flicker the Recruiter of the Guard. So I probably God-Pharaoh's Gift the Bahamut instead of the Ulamog, right? Because I'm assuming they're going to get a Solitude. Instead they get Flickerwisp, which is not live this turn. So okay, we're going to copy the God-Pharaoh's Gift. We know that their hand is Witch Enchanter. Oh, they played the Witch Enchanter. Maybe they got confused. Obviously, they could also just have a... They could also just have another Solitude in their hand, but I think Flickerwisp on this Shifting Woodland is going to be too tough to beat. So let's just go for another Ulamog here. And hope they got confused. Yay! They got confused! Let's go! Too many Shifting Woodlands. Oh, they're still alive. Thankfully this stays in play. How'd the Asmodian deck finish? Not like, it was weird. We were curving out and we were doing a lot of really powerful stuff, but we did not do a lot of winning. And then we tried a different version that looked better, but then I decided to end the stream a little early to save some energy for challenge today, challenge tomorrow. All right, let's bring in the fire magics. We got 1, 2, 3. I mean, I can traverse for land. I don't really like having to get a basic forest here. I want to leave those in the deck for the knights. Not a great 6, but I think we keep. Oh, my sign isn't on. Okay, we draw another fetch land. Why is Bahamut the God-Pharaoh's Gift payoff? In Prince to Ugin's Labyrinth, it is... I guess I do surveil. Because put something about it. In Prince to Ugin's Labyrinth, it's good to copy with Woodlands because you can get the... Yeah, you can get the value. They're probably going to field me. That's okay, though. It's good to copy with Woodlands because you can copy in draw step or upkeep, usually draw step, and then go to your main phase, get the trigger. But the biggest thing is in Prince 2 Lab, which is like really mandatory. This could get Flicker Wisped, but what are you gonna do? That's fine, I guess. 4 cards, or 4 mana, then they Skyclave my FOMO. We're gonna surveil here instead of just Unholy Heating. Need like a Looting, or a Rumble, or another FOMO. One more type towards Delirium. Fire Magic could be good. Yeah, we got so lucky to beat Tony on Storm, Belcher. They get Ophelia, then they play a land. Boo. Maybe I should have Fire Magics, but I think it's okay to greed here. Try to draw another red source or just mulligan. Do you board out sprawls against the field decks? Well, field isn't that good against it because you just put it on a basic. So it should be okay. I know you got back in the stream. If you could repaint the walls green, that'd be great. I did think about doing them green for green screen, but I don't really like the green screen stuff. All right, so if we draw a Stomping Ground and they play Felia and I Fire Magic, wipe the board, we're in pretty good shape. Otherwise, we'll just go to game 3. They grab another copy of Wisp. We draw a land, but it's not the right color, and we go to game 3. On the play. I think we mulligan a little top end heavy. Let's keep this one. Let's put back the basic 4 since they have so many fields. We want that in the deck. Good chance for flashing back looting next turn. It's a little weird because I kind of want to discard the Sprawl, but I think more so I want to be able to heat a Felia. This is also really bad if they have a Flicker Wisp, but I think being able to heat Aphelias and flashback looting is just what I want this turn. And they have the reprieve for the flashback spell, so I guess I get really got. And they have the Wisp. Seems like they don't have it. So let's float a red mana. If we find a woodland, we're in good shape. Find Ugin's Labyrinth. So I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I don't think I'm really ever imprinting here. What's nice now is that I can activate Woodland a second time if I draw it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can activate Woodland a second time in response to a field. In RW with the 52 months, hope you're doing well. But not if I draw Traverse for Woodland, which is a bit awkward. 7 cards in their hand too is so many. Maybe should have tapped this. 3, 4, 5. So if I play this and then they field end of turn, I can blank the field. Playing this is kind of bad if they have a second field, but if they do, I can just hardcast God-Pharaoh's Gift. What happens if you will Malevolent? Do you have to do it before your main phase get value? Yeah, that's why you usually set a stop on your draw step when it becomes an option. And then you just have full info on like if you want to do that or not. Do you think Flicker Wisp having flash would be too good? Yes. Okay, so now if all they're holding up is the demolition field, we beat that. We just activate again. I think they'll probably run into that. I think we might as well play this. Not going to imprint, of course. So now we blank the field. We get to throw an Ulamog at them, and if they have Solitude, they have to still sack 2 permanents. We have another Ulamog in the yard. So we 4-1'd our league here. That's pretty nice. We're 1-1 in the challenge. Pay out the believers.